Okay, I think we have landed, so I'm going to hit record. Hi, Danny.
Hi, Emily. You look very pretty today, as you do.
Well, thank you. And I'm trying to rally from the headache here. I'm starting to feel a little bit better than I did when I woke up from my nap about 40 minutes ago. You know, when you wake up from those naps and you're like so fucking out of it, and you're like, I don't know, tend to get congested when I lay back some, like during the congestion months, like it's allergy time here. So I woke up and it's congested and headache. And I was like, oh, I can't do the show. But yeah, I've rallied in 40 minutes. So
Way to rally. I
when
played 5 games of racquetball today, and I played doubles with the big boys, which is
you
always
say 5 games, like how are the racquetball games counted? It's like, like I know how tennis games are counted. How are the
the
racquetball?
first who gets to 15 wins.
Oh, okay.
So I did 2.5 singles, and then they were short someone for the doubles with the big boys. So I got to play with the big boys. And then I played 3 games with them. And then
That's
I
like
got my
somebody got
guns
hurt
in check.
mid-match or something like that.
Sorry?
Somebody got hurt mid-match or had to go mid-match.
No, so I play at 10 and then the boys, the big guys play at 11 and only 3 showed up. So on any given day, it'll be anywhere from like 2 of them to like 8 of them and then they'll split the 2 courts. But they were short one and I actually needed to kill time before getting my ozone injection, so I got to fill in. What's awesome is that there was one guy there who hadn't played with me before, and he kept underestimating me, which I love. And then
Yes.
I was just killing it down the line and just like, haha, you think I suck because I'm a girl.
Right? That's cool. There's this doubles player, her name's Sarah Arani. She's from Italy. She used to be a singles player, and in fact, like as a singles player, she even made the French Open final one year. But she's like super small. She's like 5'3", right? She has like
So she's
not just
taller than you.
she's taller than me, right? But she has like less than a powder puff serve, right? It's like
Got it.
serve is so small that it's confounding to top to like so to right. So she plays. She's a great double player. She's partnered with Jasmine Paolini, but she also plays mixed doubles with this guy Simona Bolelli, right? And this year at the U.S. Open, they did this different thing with the mixed doubles because they were trying to bring more of the top players into play it and make it a big celebrity circus. So like literally she serves like 67 miles an hour, and like some of the top returners in the world could not return her serve because they're used to it coming much faster than that. So it's kind of like, right, like there's a method to the madness, and she is very crafty. She knows exactly where to hit it with complete junk on it. You know what I mean?
It's one of my right now it's one of my superhero skills because my wrist is healing very well, but when I would say my first few weeks back, I was really gentle with it and I was noticing, oh, when I'm not hitting full speed, it totally fucks up whoever I'm playing with because they're used to full speed shots. So it was working for me today where it looks like I'm hitting it full speed, so everyone's way back
Yeah.
and then it dies at the front.
I mean, there's all, but yeah, so there's always, there's that. And then there's also a lot of players actually rely on redirecting someone else's power. And so if
Yes.
they have nothing to redirect, they're not used to producing their own power. So that's the other thing you can do with it, right? So
Yeah.
well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. It was super fun. And I would like to report, so Words 115 is coming out tomorrow. Would you like to tell the folks where to find it?
Yes, it'll be if you go to wordspodcast.locals.com and use the promo code welcome to words, you will find the land back grift there tomorrow morning. We'll have one little more thing about it today, and then we are complete on that for a little while, and we're going to Antarctica after this.
I'm so excited to go to Antarctica. So, not to give away tomorrow's show, everyone do check in. We just got a super chat. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I just want to report because today is Wednesday, and we go into this more on the longer show. But last Thursday night, they had the mayoral quiz show that my friend and I hijacked so that the person who we wanted to win, who's the populist, who's from here for the people, he won. They still haven't put it out. And I don't think they are going to put it out. And I think that the reason which you nailed why they're not going to put it out is because the out of town East Coast Ivy League Jew puppet, who they want to replace our current East Coast Ivy League Jew puppet, said out loud when asked about the obelisk, "Oh, the Leaning Tower of Shame," thus insulting the majority of people who live in this town. But I just thought it was fascinating that they hosted this big event. There's all this publicity. There's all this hullabaloo. They did a part one, which is out. And then there's no coverage. There's not a social media mention. It's like it never happened.
Have you talked to Ronald Trujillo about this?
No, because I'm trying to play it cool with him. Have not, but I did put a nudge on their social media on the part one video. I wrote, "Hey, when is part two coming out? I'm so bummed that I missed the event."
Dani loves to niggle these people. So, did you see what Joan said, Dani?
No, I did not.
She took class to join us today.
Aww.
It's an investment in her own sanity. And she said, "Thanks for all you do and don't do."
Love that.
I love it. Okay. So yeah, I keep us posted. I was thinking about doing that as well. I was thinking about going on to the part one video and be like, I'm so looking forward to this was so good. I'm so looking for, I'll do it.
Please do. Thank you.
If everybody will go to 505-O-Matic and you go to the show called Quiz-O-Matic, I think is what, let me see. I'll pull it up so everyone knows. Hold on a second. Let's do
I
this.
think it's only on their, like, I message them on their Instagram about it.
Oh yeah, there's no comment. They have the comments turned off. Okay, let's.
Really? Because I commented today, so that must have
No, I mean the comments are turned off on the YouTube video. I tried. That's why I didn't do it the other day. I remember I had the thought to do it, and then I didn't do it because 505-O-Matic.
For everyone listening, again, we go into this in Words 115, but there was this huge event last Thursday, and we go into the details of how we swayed it to go the way of justice and truth. And because of that, plus what the globalist puppet said, we think that's why they're not sharing it publicly.
Okay, so yeah, see, they have, I tried to comment here yesterday thinking I would comment. Oh, they have comments on now. I thought it was off. Okay, here's comments on. All right, I'm going to leave my comment right now.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Denise Winterbottom, for your generous super chat. You guys rock so hard. Thank you. We love you.
If you guys all want to go and bombard them in the comment section.
Awesome. Thank you.
There we go.
When you bombard them, don't out us.
Yeah, don't out us, even though I'm saying it right now live on the live stream. I'm allowed to out us, but you guys just go there and be like, "Where's part two? We can't wait." Anywho, all right. This is just like absolute like what are they like flash mob the 505-O-Matic comment section. Okay, where shall we start, my friend?
You told me you brought 2 clips, but there was one about Ackman and tennis.
I have 3 clips. I have Curtis Sliwa, who's one of the mayoral candidates in New York. It's interesting what he's saying about that too, trashing Bill Ackman. I have the Dem operative admitting on CNN that the Trump prosecution was a scam. And then I have Kash Patel calling anybody who YouTubes about Charlie Kirk an anarchist.
Let's do the New York mayor one since we're already on the topic of
on the topic of mayoral races.
Yes.
Let's just go full mayor geek out. All right, yes. Here we go. Fair use. Our friends at Do Dissidents make a delightful story as always. Here we go.
Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet? Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman. Stay in your lane.
All right, folks. This is kind of a quick one and a fun one, but the New York City mayoral debate was Thursday night. And it was a 3-person debate. Zohran Mamdani versus Andrew Cuomo versus radio shock jock Curtis Sliwa and perennial candidate for the Republican party for New York City mayor, and it's kind of funny how helpful he was to Mamdani throughout the debate in his digs against Andrew Cuomo. So here's probably the most viral of them.
The toughest guy alive. But let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
and
didn't
you have
you
a
send the
difficult
National Guard?
understanding
Okay.
that what the term
All
no
right,
is.
all right.
You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
I agree with Curtis. You're not going to stand.
Oh, boy. So Mamdani there gets the assist at the
You're
end.
not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
I agree with Curtis. You're not going to stand.
There you go. I agree with Curtis, says Zoran Mamdani. And so obviously now Mamdani has opened up, as we talked about in the last segment, a very significant lead. He's closing in on 50%, which in a three-way race is a virtual lock. He's up by about 20 points. Nobody can get close to him. The only chance there is to beat him is for Sliwa to drop out. And even in that event, it wouldn't matter. Because if Mamdani's at 48 or 49%, certainly there are some Andrew Cuomo voters who prefer Mamdani to Sliwa. So if 1 in 20 Cuomo voters are Democrats at the end of the day, and they'd vote for the anti-Trump mayor over the pro-Trump mayor, Mamdani basically has this on ice. And that is really upsetting a lot of the oligarchs who begged Andrew Cuomo to get in the race as an independent after he lost the nomination, the most prominent of which is Bill Ackman. So not only did Sliwa throw shade at Cuomo on the debate stage, but now he's asked about the pressure on him to drop out, and he throws more shade at Bill Ackman than I've ever heard any liberal throw at Bill Ackman, including Mamdani himself. So let's take a look at this.
But I do see a lot of New Yorkers who are saying we're terrified of Mamdani.
Well,
we're terrified of
you
Mamdani.
see, that's the problem.
And they say that
Let
Cuomo.
me explain to you. Who's the street warrior here? The
Pause.
moment you show
1
fear, you
second.
lose.
Is this Sliwa guy a Dem?
No, he's a Republican.
Okay.
Like I guess he's a radio talk show host in New York who's like been a consistent Republican candidate for city offices for like a long time. But he's like, he looks familiar to me. I've definitely seen him before. He's considered like New York City old guard, kind of
Okay.
like sort of blue collar Republican type.
Cool. I really like his collar game. Can you rewind 3 seconds?
Yes.
Because I'm always going to do this. We're to eat bugs, walk everywhere, never fly, use electric stoves, but every podcaster on the planet can have single-use plastic water bottles like earth rapey morons. Got it.
That
Let me
Cuomo-
explain to you. Who's the street warrior here? The moment you show fear, you lose. The Zoronistas have already won because it's a different generation. They say, look, they're all afraid of us. You've empowered them.
Oh, I
I've
like
been in
him.
situations where I've been surrounded by people with guns. If I
So this guy's going out there and basically saying, yeah, Zoran's got it. He's going to win. He's already won. He's already won. Tell this guy, like, does not give a fuck about blowing it for Andrew Cuomo. You can tell this guy probably has a special contempt for Cuomo that he doesn't have for Mamdani, which is true of a lot of Republicans because of
Yes.
the COVID shit.
That's why
He's
I
more
keep saying
toxic than Mamdani.
like
Yeah.
the
Hold up,
assumption
hold up.
that if he dropped out, all these Republicans would vote for Cuomo is
They might have information that I don't have, but based on what he's saying, I didn't hear him saying that Mamdani was going to win because he liked him, but he's talking about the psychology of the press.
Correct. So, like the premise of this is that there's 3 people in the race. Mamdani's the Democratic candidate. Cuomo is being highly funded to run as an independent, even though he lost the Democratic primary. And then this guy is the Republican, right? And all of the billionaires are trying to pressure this guy to drop out so that his voters will vote for Cuomo instead of Mamdani. And your assessment is correct. He's like, if you're afraid of Mamdani's not already won. It doesn't matter if he actually wins or doesn't win. If you're afraid of him, he's won. Yeah.
Correct.
ridiculous.
It's
They wouldn't
ridiculous.
vote for Mamdani. A lot of them just wouldn't vote.
Yes, a lot of them just wouldn't vote. Exactly.
I said, look, they're all afraid of us. You've empowered them. I've been in situations where I've been surrounded by people with guns. If I blinked, if I showed any fear, you're dead. They've already signaled to the Zoronistas they won. Oh, I'm so afraid. Well, then leave if you're afraid. There's nothing prevents you from leaving. Are you willing to fight? They're not willing to fight.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has any doubt that you're not like the bravest candidate on the stage.
No, it's not
You've
even
been
brave.
shot at. So I understand that full well. And when I say terrified, I mean they don't want to pay even more tax. They don't want to pay 52%. Sure, but
This kid
It's
got
sort
some
of like
that
they've
gay
already
frog
signaled
water,
they're
I think.
leaving, they're abandoning. I'm not leaving. The people who are supporting me are not leaving if somehow I lose. We're staying and we're fighting for the Republican principles. That's how you save a city. That's how you save a state. You don't just sacrifice it. What did Andrew Cuomo say? His billionaire friend, well, if I lose, I'll flee to Florida too. Whoa, that's great leadership, isn't it? Doesn't work.
the problem is that New York will not be the same if we have a max exodus. And what I mean is that, like, I love this city, for example, and many others love this city.
Right.
And we will stay if shit hits the fan, a lot of us, but a lot of us won't. A lot of us, those who can, will leave. And the city, much like after COVID, will have a very difficult time recovering.
Look, who's responsible for that? Andrew Cuomo. You want your savior, your messianic leader, to lead you out of this abyss when he got us here to begin with? A no cash bill, raise the age, close Rikers out. All these ideas have been taken by the Democratic Socialist American. He was the architect. Yeah. Who is the apprentice? Zohran Mandami. How did we get here? Right. You're going to trust the guy, the arsonist, to suddenly be the firefighter? Doesn't work.
There you go. And he goes even more directly at Bill Ackman just a few minutes later. But there he is saying, like, look, if you're threatening to flee the city, how much do you care? I represent the blue collar New Yorker, right? I'm the real New Yorker. I'm the real New Yorker. Like, this guy just reads so much more authentic, even though, like, his politics have never been my politics. This guy's been on the radio forever. I remember listening to this guy talk about the Iraq war, but, you know, in ways that were just, like, absolutely nauseating. But, like, he comes off so much more authentic than Andrew Cuomo, right? And sticking it to these billionaire donors, like, hey, if you're threatening to flee the city, then what the fuck you worried about? You want to leave? Leave. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah, Curtis Sliwa, man, that guy is fucking old school New York.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when I was a little kid, he was already a legend for the Guardian Angels.
Yes.
Remember, when the Guardian Angels started, and for anyone not from New York, if you don't know, the perception at the time, this is when Death Wish was big, and there was a lot in the popular imagination of vigilantes going and fighting crime. And that was the perception of what the Guardian Angels were, right? That they're going on the subways and beating up. That's never what they did. You would get arrested. Like, that would be literally an illegal vigilante group. They would go and, you know, they wear like the red berets and they have the shirts, and they would go on the subway. And yeah, man, if people saw the Guardian Angels, they're probably not going to commit a crime.
Right.
Because they're going to go report it to the police. They weren't actually out there. But vigilantism was very in the air in the 70s. So these guys were beloved. And Curtis Sliwa, this is going back to the 70s when I'm a little kid. Curtis Sliwa was like a god in New York City. So he has been around forever. Now, his politics... We asked him for an interview, which we probably won't get. It would be very interesting to talk to this guy,
that would be amazing.
Because yes, man, he is like this old school New York guy who clearly understands the streets and understands working people. And I don't understand how you have a lot of the policy ideas that he has, but then he's funny. Like, didn't he come out for like Medicare for all the last time he ran or something?
No, he ran on like animal rights last time.
No,
homeless
but there was
people.
something.
He's like, we're going to take care of the homeless or something.
There was something
That's not a
he came out
Republican
for that was very like off script for a Republican. I can't remember exactly what it was.
That's their point, right? That he has these weird oddball.
The animal rights. It was something else.
Okay. Well, here he is now. So that kind of sets up the framework for this.
But
Okay,
something
but
that
now
I
here
think is
he is going
important.
directly at Bill Ackman, letting you know what he thinks. So he
Yeah.
I'm obviously not tracking this super closely, and nor am I Republican or a Democrat. But this guy starting the whatever's Guardian Angels, like it shows a commitment to the city from way back.
Correct.
And I wish that these were the people who would be elected, the people who are devoted to public service, who are consistent,
Correct. Right.
instead of these like Johnny come latelys, let's kill all the Jews. Oh yeah, he's a great mayor for the most Jewish town in the country.
All right, here you go.
took a kind of opaque shot at him. The billionaires who are funding, they can leave, right? And now here it gets a little more direct.
However, I think it is clear to New Yorkers who are against Mamdani that you and Cuomo are splitting the anti-Mamdani vote. So my question is simple. Are you okay if Mamdani wins that you, so to speak, contributed to that?
Well, number one, Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet? Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman. Stay in your lane. Does he know anything about politics? No. Does he live in New York City? No. He lives in Chapaka, the whitest suburb of America, where even the lawn jockeys are white. He may know Wall Street. He may know hedge funds. He has been wrong every step of the way with the billionaires. So let's say people come to the conclusion, if somehow I lose, and we know Andrew Cuomo's lost, he's already tossed into town. Oh, it's because of you, Curtis. Because of, really? It's because of the Democrats. Wait a second. Who created Zohan Mamdani? Who embraced him? Who nourished him? Who supported him? And how dare you, people who know nothing about politics, suggest that everybody who's going to vote for me is suddenly going to be reborn? We love Andrew Cuomo. He killed all these elderly. He's a sexual harasser. He told conservatives and Republicans in 2014, if you're conservative and you believe in right to life and the Second Amendment, you have no place in New York. You need to leave. This is the result of the Democrat self-destruction. So I'm supposed to help them? How come they don't help themselves?
All right, I think that's enough. I think that like that sort of gives the point. I like this guy.
I love him.
Right.
Love him.
I mean, I mean, he has personality, right? Like he says, really what we need. I mean, I don't think we need any of this because we don't need politicians, in my opinion. But definitely don't need more Democrats and like standard Democrats or Republicans. We need people like with their own specific take and their own specific personality. And like they said, he has a few things that he's into that aren't standard Republican issues and, whatever. I think that's better. Like no person naturally believes everything that is one party's, platform or the other. We all have things that we think the other side is reasonable about or someone else has a point on. And so if you're bold enough to be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do the thing that I think is right. And here's why, and be able to have chutzpah like he does when he talks about it, go for it.
I'm with you. And at this point, to me, that's a green flag. When I hear a politician back a policy that strays from their party lines, it shows me that they're a critical, independent thinker.
Right.
And they're not just a follower. So at this point, that's what I'm looking for. Like who's not going to be beholden
right.
to this two-party system, to their puppeteers, but is showing that they personally
right.
Can lean into different perspectives. That's an up for me.
Well, also, like, unfortunately, most of our politics, even though we're most affected by things locally, are centered around national politics, right? And so you have like this like Republican set of ideas and this Democrat set of ideas, and then like on the extremes, the progressive or the libertarian set of ideas or whatever it is. But there's no way that works for every city. Every city has a different set of issues, right? So if you're just trying to plug the holes for the Republican thing so that next time you can run for senator and next time you can run for president or whatever it is, you don't actually care about the city. It's just a job interview for you. It's like an audition to keep moving up. And so if you're going, look, hey, like, I don't love the idea. I'm sure in his head, right? Like he probably like, doesn't love the idea of, sort of welfare stuff or doing things that go against like whatever his economic principles are. But he lives in New York City and he sees how many homeless people are on the street, and he knows how they got there because of what previous governments and mayors have done. And so having the standard talking point opinion on that is not going to work. He needs to do what works for where he is, and he seems like a strong enough personality to withstand whatever anybody would bring again. Like he seems to have that sort of irreverence that like certainly Donald Trump had, at least in term one, right? On some levels, right? He was not perfect too, and he caved and folded and hired the wrong people. This guy seems wiser. This guy seems a street smarter than Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump is golf, country club wise maybe, but this guy seems street wise.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm not going to vote for him, but I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously we're not in New York, but I'm also a fan these days of what is misbranded as toxic masculinity. Like, I want a strong, paternalistic, capital M, masculine guy in office who's not going to kowtow to the whiny crybaby snowflakes.
All right, so that's it with that one. What do you got?
I told you the one that I'm married to is my Kiriakou. It's about 6 minutes.
Kiriakou, let's get married.
So this is, he's all up in the news this week. Have you tracked what he's coming out with?
No.
So I'm playing this to settle the eons old debate between you and me. Is Kiriakou still a CIA shill?
Perfect.
Or has he gone independent? May I please have screen share permission?
I'm going to grant you permission.
Why, thank you.
There you go.
Okie dokie. So here we go. Fair use.
Feeling people would really want to ask about this. Did you?
I started listening to this like a couple weeks back when it posted, and then I forgot about it. And I only got a few minutes in, so I'm glad that you brought something from this. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, good. I didn't realize it was old, but time is not even real anyway. Moving on.
Not real.
Did you happen to see Sean Ryan on Tucker?
Mm-hmm.
You did? Okay. So for people that maybe haven't, he talks about he interviewed this guy that was a CIA and FBI agent. That is an asset. Sean had him on his show, and I didn't watch the full episode, but just for context, let's say this guy was his story and his credentials were, I don't know, Al Qaeda. Let's say that, right? And let's say that he's Middle Eastern based, and that's where his story lives. And at one point, he says something to Sean about it was either the Russians trying to proliferate nuclear material or bring nuclear material somewhere, and it was something alarming related to Russia. And Sean talks on Tucker about, he's like, well, I looked at the guy and I asked him immediately, I was like, when is the last time that you had contact with the agency? And apparently this guy's story was that he got burned by the agency. The agency fucked him. That's what he claims. So he says, well, no, it was, when they screwed me. That was the very last time. And Sean goes, well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. If the CIA found out that you were going to come on this podcast, obviously the Sean Ryan show has quite a bit of reach. And he's I think there's a difference between a show having a lot of reach and the show's host being reputable, which in my opinion, Sean is. He's very reputable.
Yes. Yeah, he's the real McCoy.
Yes. I modeled this whole show.
Right, pause. I don't know if that's your point, but like that settles it for me. Anybody who thinks that Sean Ryan is the real McCoy, right? Like that's the biggest problem I hear so far, is that both of these guys think Sean Ryan is great. That's an issue.
Or both of these guys' handlers are telling them to say this.
I don't think their handlers have to tell them. I think they understand that the industry that they're currently employed in and how you get on the next big show, which supports your podcast and all of that kind of stuff. Like Sean Ryan John Kiriakou is not on, he was on like, I forget which outlet, but it was like a Russian outlet. He was on RT for a while, and then he was on a different Russian outlet, and he's not anymore. Now he's just doing his own thing, and his own show is blowing up. So, it requires for sure being in the the good graces of your Sean Ryans and your Tucker Carlsons and all of your other CIA folk. Yeah.
Also, look at my margin here. He was just on Joe Rogan. Like,
He was
this
on Joe
guy
Rogan.
is not an independent actor. I don't even believe he was in prison. But let's just play it out, and then we'll
He was
break
on
it
Joe Rogan a few weeks ago. It was like I often enjoy listening to Kiriakou because he's a good storyteller. But
Yeah.
the episode with Joe Rogan was boring because it was just telling stories I've already heard him tell everywhere else. So it was like his greatest hits. It was kind of annoying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
He's the GOAT. Anyway, he asked the guy, when's the last time he had contact with the agency? Because
Good question.
he felt like he just threw that Russia thing in there and it was totally out of place. And the theory would be like, if the agency said, okay, you're going on this podcast, say whatever you want, just work in this one thing. And that got the wheels turning in my head.
Ah, that's insightful.
It's so insightful.
I just hadn't thought about it that way. Like, you would think people claim other famous CIA officers are plants. I won't say who.
Bustamante?
We don't need to go there. But just that one nugget.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think that's a brilliant insight. And I could absolutely see it. 100% absolutely see it. Yes. Yes. You know, people talk about Operation Mockingbird and the CIA's influence over the media. They don't need to recruit media figures anymore because the American media just will gladly take whatever the CIA gives them and they'll run with it. They'll just gist a CIA press release and call it news. So yeah, you know, a friend of mine, Jason Leopold. I don't know if you know Jason. He's an investigative journalist with Bloomberg. He started off at the LA Times. He went to Vice and a couple of other different places. This guy is absolutely brilliant. He's a gifted writer. He's a dogged investigator and breaks big stories. He's the one who broke the Hillary Clinton email server story. And the way he did it, the way he does it every time, is he files these gigantic Freedom of Information Act requests, knowing that the agency's never going to respond within the 60 days or 90 days or whatever it is. And so he sues them every time. And he wins every time. And so he filed a Freedom of Information Act request asking for all correspondence between the CIA's Office of Public Affairs and all American journalists, period, from this date to that date. And they didn't respond, and he sued, and the judge ruled in his favor, and they had to just turn over everything. And he found such interesting information. He found, first, there was a reporter who wrote a story that was a little bit anti-CIA. And so the CIA emailed him and said, you better not publish this. If you publish this, so help me God, you will never be invited to the Christmas party ever again, and we will not comment on any of your stories. And so he withdrew. They don't need to recruit the guy to kill the story. They just threaten him. Another thing that he found was Ken Delanian, who is the chief national security correspondent at NBC News and MSNBC. He was writing articles about the agency, and then he was sending the articles to the agency for clearance before he sent them to his own editor. That is absolutely unacceptable. So they don't need to recruit anybody in the media. They already own everybody in the media. And if you're anti-agency and you're not working for a well-funded media outlet, you're screwed because you're just not going to be able to get your message out there.
He pretty much just admitted it. There's a little bit more I want to play, but he just told us the deal because he's everywhere.
Fair point. I think he's right. I think what he's saying is accurate. Listening to this clip reminded me, I listened to a Bustamante clip yesterday where he was making the case as to why Jeffrey Epstein was an FBI informant, a confidential informant for the FBI rather than a CIA or Mossad. asset, right? And what was fun, it was interesting because the way he started this part was like talking about, or the way the Dalton Fisher guy was like, oh, somebody threw in this like Russia bit, right? And whenever they talk about being suspicious of who might or might not be an agent, we all know they're often talking about Bustamante as well, right? It just made me think of that clip that I watched yesterday. That was, I guess, from the last time he was on Danny Jones. Remember when we played the Sean Ryan clip where he was like, "How I know when someone is like a plant or whatever is if they remember what they talked about on my show." Right. So,
Totally.
but also, I think so. I think what they're talking about is Bustamante going in there and throwing in some Russian story, or no, no, or maybe it wasn't Bustamante. Maybe it was whatever it was. Uh, uh, Remember earlier this year, Sean Ryan had that chick on. I think her name was like Sarah Adams, who was like trying to tell us about how the Tesla bombing and then the thing in New Orleans was like the start of the activation of all the sleeper cells of all like the Al Qaeda terrorist cells, and how that was like the most important show he's ever done. And somehow that isn't it. Like her going there and saying something that is just like complete nonsense based on like everything else going on in the world. That's not it. But someone just like saying one anti-Russia thing in a sea of the rest of the anti-Russia things that we've been bathing in for the past low-key 5 years, full on for like all of our lives, right? It's just, yeah, but no, but fair point, right? Like the next question, because you are a journalist, would have been, well, you've been in the media quite a bit lately. How do you explain that?
100%. But
Right.
there's one last cherry on top that you're going to love.
All right.
That's why we're so fortunate to have people like Matt Taibbi, for example, who's able to get his message out thanks to Substack. You know, we need 1,000 Matt Taibbis, not these weaklings who are just going to take whatever the CIA gives them and gist it and put their name on the Bible.
Guys, we need 1,000 irrelevant journalists, 1,000 former good, now irrelevant journalists, because
who don't understand how the world works on any level and are in bed with spook asset Walter
Right.
Kern. Just
Right.
kidding. I'm excited to be in County Highway. But
okay, so
that
couple,
whole thing
right?
to me was like, there were like 12 side conversations going on through whatever that was.
Well, John, it's interesting with John Kiriakou because when all this crazy stuff went down with him back like 15 years ago, he was on the media quite a bit. And then for a while, I know he was still on like RT and these other stuff, but his sort of media presence had receded a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden in the last 2 years, he's really like his star has risen. And so like, you know, with none of these people do I think that they're the kind of independent actor that I am, right? Or whatever it is. I never think that about any of them, right? But we all like, because we're gluttons for punishment, try to inform ourselves about the things that are going on in the world. And during those periods of time, you find certain people who, whether you 100% trust them or not, you like enjoy the way they tell a story, or you learn some things from him, or whatever it is. And I think my point with the John Kiriakou thing is like, I've paid attention to him for a long enough time, right? That like when you have him in a situation where it's kind of like him versus Bustamante, right? Here's my preference. That doesn't mean that like I would not co-sign on, yeah, this guy's the real dealer for kosher, you know, he's the kosher pickle at the deli. No, right? Like, but yeah, it's funny how he doesn't even realize what he just admitted.
Oh, I think he does realize it. And I think it goes back to whatever the sort of like satanic inversion where they have to tell us. I felt like that was a deliberate setup to kind of get him off the hook of like, I told you, I said it.
I mean, maybe, but I think the other thing, and the part about this that like one of the things I don't like about particularly Dalton Fisher, Sean Ryan, and then the Julian Doherty guy is I feel like I mean, Danny Jones, to a lesser extent, I think he's doing something a little different than this. They're really glorifying, like they're making heroes of these people who used to work for the FBI, work for the CIA, used to be, right? Like they're turning them into pop stars. right?
Of course they are.
And they're making that like it's like a cool club to be in or something now. Like not for me, but like right, like it's like there's this like special podcast bro, former maybe current still agent asset thing that like people love in the same way that they love fucking pop stars and DJs and actors. It's fucking weird, dude.
Oh, totally. And I think it folds in with like what's happening with UFO disclosure and all their CIA operatives pretending that they're not CIA operatives. So I think it's like, I think that's where we saw it become more popularized in the past few years. And now it's bleeding into like alt media and conspiracy. But aside from the adage that like no one's ex CIA
There's
at
no
all,
such thing. Yeah.
I would buy it more from Kiriakou, given that he was a whistleblower, given his age. The fact that Bustamante is what, like 30, and
Right.
he retired,
Right.
and
Right.
he's just like an
Correct.
honest actor wearing his "I'm a spy" gear.
Even though, and this is the other thing, and right, like I don't even know that I have a strong opinion on this, but let's just say that let's pretend for 1 second that all the things Kiriakou reports about what happened to him happened the way he said, right? He still honors all of his agreements with the CIA. He still, when he's telling a story, if he says like there's a part he can't tell, he still doesn't tell it, right? And whatever. So all like, where comes the like? I mean, I guess there's a couple of ways to look at this, right? Like people make agreements, and there's the idea that like if you're an honorable person, you keep your word. But if it's true that you signed up to work for the agency because you thought you were helping and then you found out you were hurting, where's the ballsy person who's like, I'm going to break my non-disclosure agreement, and if whatever that means for me is what it means for me. And so the fact that like he doesn't mind talking about what horrendous whatever he went through when he was in jail, but he's still just like acknowledging and maintaining all of his, like confidentiality and whatever with them. It also, that's a form of always being with the agency.
Of course, they're murderers. Like, no one's gonna come clean with that agency. I just don't see it happening. I just saw Michael Charlie put in the chat, Danny Jones, DJ, is to Julian Dory, JD, as JD, I'm assuming Vance, to DJ. Donald
Very
J.
good. I
Trump.
like it, Michael Charlie. Yeah.
That's juicy.
Well, Julian Dory like got his start on like he kind of was friendly with Danny Jones, and I think was on his podcast, and that helped him start his podcast. So it's kind of like Joe Rogan, Lex Fridman, or whatever kind of situations, or Joe Rogan, Eddie Bravo, or one of those kinds of situations.
Right.
But yes, I do like the wordplay there with the initials and the acronyms and all that.
I want to give Michael one more shout out, because he said Kiriakou is the Amy Goodman of the CIA, which I totally agree with.
Totally, yeah. Denise Winterbottom, thank you so much for the generous super chat. Dead Star Cave Girl, thank you. Yeah, that's a good assessment. Like he does match the Amy Goodman model, right? Which she's also an agency, right? Like it's she reports on the agency from the agency, kind of, right? And that the evidence of that is like you can just go and watch her. Like listen, I don't know if you've ever heard like what Aaron Mate has to say. Aaron Mate used to work there.
Okay.
And Aaron Mate is on Gray Zone and Useful Idiots.
Yeah.
And he's an independent journalist. Like he was doing things before he was on either of those shows. He worked there for a number of years, and then he left, and he would come back sometimes and report on things that he was covering. And then like he won a lot of awards for being really the first person to catch at least the first person in the media who would be honest enough to catch all the things wrong with the Russiagate story, right? And she wasn't interested in hosting him to. In fact, maybe he went on there one time and something went wrong, and then he's never heard from her again. But like literally, there was like the stark red line: you can't come on here and tell your Russiagate nonsense, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Want to do another one of yours, or you want one of mine? We're
Let's
talking about operatives. Let's go to my dem
yeah,
operatives.
let's do yours.
All right, here we go. I thought this was just, this would be satisfying to you that there's an open admission. Hold on a second. What is my screen doing? That's weird.
I want to respond to Joan, who said, I used to think Kiriakou was cool, but after a show with Brian Becker got canceled and his voice got amplified, I became sus. I still think he's cool. I would probably like hanging out with him, and I totally don't trust him at all.
He's a great
They
storyteller, so let's just call him that. John Kiriakou is an entertaining storyteller, and sometimes you learn a nugget or two, and that's a different thing than being like a trustworthy person who we should go to the mat with, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, here we go.
You know how I've told you that they're making a big deal out of Trump prosecuting James Comey and going after Letitia James in the exact same way Letitia James went after Donald Trump over bank loans, the exact same thing, and she's guilty. Trump isn't. Trump was doing regular real estate. So we've told you that all those the part of the plan of the Democratic Party, really the establishment, was to try to make it so Trump couldn't be president again. And that's why they did the Fedsurrection on January 6th. And that's what they tried to get him to commit a felony.
I just want to speak to what Jimmy just said, because it is true that him going after Letitia James, she went after him. But I continue to wish that Trump wouldn't do these punitive, why is Fauci not in cuffs? Why isn't he going after the real thing instead of these personal vendettas, whether they're justified or not? It's a bad look, and we have bigger fish to fry.
I mean, if they did a crime, I don't have a problem with him going after them. But that the priority are the big fish, right?
Mortgage fraud or mass murder.
Right. But these are just like the little bones, so that when someone says, well, you haven't done anything, he's like, oh, well, James Comey fucked up the Hillary Clinton thing and whatever it was, right? He started the Russiagate. Here we go.
Right.
Felony, which he didn't. That's why they didn't prosecute Donald Trump for January 6th, but they prosecuted him for every other thing, and it was to try to get him to not be able to be on the ballot in 2024. That's what this was all about. And this was called lawfare, weaponizing the Justice Department to go after their political enemies, which is what they did, which is why the FBI staged a crime scene at Mar-a-Lago when they went in and went through Donald Trump's home, right? Joe Biden had classified documents in his garage at the exact same time, and nobody raided his house, and nobody prosecuted him. But the FBI did raid Mar-a-Lago and stage a crime scene. They put in jail all of Donald Trump's lawyers, his political advisors, his campaign manager. They put them all in jail. And now Donald Trump is going after those criminals, and they're saying, oh my God, criminal prosecution. Oh, political prosecutions. Well, here is a Democrat.
Sorry to harp on this, but this version of Trump is not representing the people or the country. It's all about him.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, that's always what Donald Trump is about, is always all about him. But so he has a point. Yes, it's the same thing that the people who were supportive when the Democrats were doing it to him are now outraged. So there's a double standard here. But yes, I completely agree with you. I don't think we're ever going to overcome any of our problems until somebody, decides that they're not going to take the low blows. They're going to take the high road and do what they think is right and start to move beyond. This goes with everything, right? Whenever someone fucks you over and then you get a chance to fuck them over, you've already, the only way that it's going to stop the cycle of fucking people over is if you decide not to fuck them over and be, whatever it is. But we have literally the biggest toddler in the playpen running the preschool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a hologram
operative admitting that all these prosecutions against Donald Trump were lawfare. In fact, it was part of their way to resist Donald Trump. You think I'm kidding? Let's watch.
One of Pete's longtime advisors, Liz Smith, seemed to let the cat out of the bag this week, telling CNN all those felony convictions against the president were not a real case, just part of a planned Democrat Party resistance.
Why the base is mad at some of the leaders in Washington is not because they're not left enough. It's because, Chuck Schumer came out with no strategy, no forewarning, and just said, we're going to fold on the CR. I mean, I think he could have done a better job of explaining what the strategy was and what we're going to do, but there wasn't anything like that. I think Democrats are learning, and I'm going to agree with you that Democrats cannot only be the party of resistance. We cannot, like, we resisted so hard between 2017 and 2024. We impeached the guy, like, we prosecuted him, convicted him of 34 felony counts, and guess what? He still got elected. So I don't know how much.
I want to honor her professional attire. She did a good job, but she has like little baby hands. Look how small they are. They don't seem to go with her body. It's like someone else is under the counter.
But it's like she's like a high school girl, like, oh my God, we did this and we did this. It's crazy.
Harder we can resist right now.
Are you admitting that, that the case against Trump in New York was part of the organized Democratic Party resistance?
It was a Democratic prosecutor, and at the time, I said I thought it was unwise. I went on Fox News and said
there were Democrats who said this at the time.
There were a lot.
Just to be clear, this wasn't. Just to be clear, everybody who now touts the 34 felonies.
Does that feel like the Muppet Show and not like the news?
Like it's all a little bit too casual and jovial for what she just admitted.
Right. Continuing.
Take it from Liz. This was not a real case. This was a plot to upend the presidential campaign, which
I just think it was a boneheaded move by Alvin Bragg.
Spinning. In some ways, the liberal lawfare never ended, with Comey still showing symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome.
All right. So that's all. So just like there was like this, that wasn't the point of her talking wasn't to let that out of the bag, but that came as part of that, right? Like, because that's not working anymore. Resistance doesn't work in this situation that they're in now. So now they have to do something other than resist. And in order to make that point, she had to explain what the resistance was. And there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought you'd find that satisfying.
Very satisfying. Plus, she was covered up. It wasn't all tits.
Dani's a prude.
I just don't like women always sexualizing themselves as though they have no other value and have no self-respect and dignity. And it's disrespectful to young men and boys to be sexual signaling 24/7 because women are insecure and haven't done their work on themselves to develop real self-esteem that's not their tits.
This is Dani's second speech about this week. So there.
I feel very passionately about this. It's the demoralization of our culture.
I mean, I'm not for tits, right? But if I've
except
learned,
for Laura's.
I've learned that that some people somehow think that that's empowering for themselves, and whatever.
Legit, whatever.
Legit,
I'm glad that the people in our community understand this.
Yes. Well, there are a few of the there was a few, we have a few. There's a few people in the alternative media. I mean, not in our audience, but we've talked about this before. Who like suddenly become like strippers and like want to wear the stripper outfit, right? But
yes. It's. I mean, people are free to do whatever they want. And I think it's degrading our entire culture and isn't really helping womankind.
I like Jana's title.
I wrote it down. Them Operatives.
Yeah, that's a good title, Jana. And good afternoon, Michael Cisternino.
So remember the Alice in Chains song, Dem Bones?
Yes.
So when Jana suggested it, I immediately transposed it in my head to Dem Operatives, but then I'm like, fuck, because then it's like the Democrats.
Yeah, no, then it has to be Them Operatives.
It has to be Them Operatives.
Yeah.
All right, so choose what you want next from me. I have 2 from Dark Horse Podcast, 1 just Heather, or Bill Gates getting a talk down, or Gene Keys.
Let's do. I know we've we've been getting requests for Brett, so let's do your Brett and Heather clips, and then we'll do my Cash Patel clip.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start with the Heather because I think she was on point this time, and it reminded me of why I liked Heather in the first place, because she is smart as fuck. And then we'll do the Brett where you could see, like, it's kind of a cry for help from Heather. Like, she clearly wants to join our show, and I think we should rescue her. I think she'd be a good addition. All right, fair use. Little sanity from Heather Hine.
One of the very few things that we would never discuss with our children before they came to be a certain age, and probably mid-teens or so, which was suicide. Why would you introduce to a child an idea that they have not come up with themselves, which is horrifying and awful every time it happens? You should not. Why would you introduce to a child or a young person the idea that a destructive, debilitating thing that a few people have discovered how to do is actually a normal part of human experience? Anorexia, bulimia, or that fantasy is truth and that myth is reality, that you can change sexes, which you cannot, the trans phenomenon. So on top of that, on top of the horror that is social contagion and the particular susceptibility that both children and young people, specifically women, have to social contagion, how dare anyone in a position of authority to potentially influence what goes into the DSM add to an already questionable diagnosis the word terminal, when there are no diagnostic criteria either existing or possible for such a thing? Why would you ever take away hope from people? This is the opposite of what we are told that we should be doing for people in the throes of mental crisis, which is what people who think they are trans or too fat when they're too skinny or need to throw up all of their food or any of these social contagions are. They are in the throes of mental illness. You do not take away hope from them at that point. One of the very few things that we would never do.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
Right?
the thing she started with, like, I always like that should be, you tell your kid about something when they have a question about it, whether it's sex, whether it's drugs, or whatever it is. Like, you don't go interfering and bringing these like unnecessary complex topics to them before they have a question about it. Like, the only time that I really see that you need to tell about kids about something before they ask about it is like, don't go with strangers, the stove's on hot, don't put your finger in it, things that are like immediate threats to them, right? Not things that like are these sort of curiosities and things that you find out about and then you explore and then you, right? Like the things that are the immediate present danger, right? Don't open the door to strangers. Don't things about safety around the house. But I always wondered like why everybody was so anxious to tell kids about sex and drugs. Like, kids will come to that, kids will figure it out, and they will ask you a question. And like, right? And they will ask you the question, and that whatever question they're capable of forming deserves an answer.
Yes.
And so that's the like, there's this amazing thing baked into the way our intelligence develops, is that like when we're ready to understand something, we ask the question, right? And so yeah, like no issues with Heather there.
Yeah, agreed.
Nice comment.
Yes,
Nailed
well
it.
done.
Nailed
it, Heather. Now on to her hubby, who's fresh off of he did the Camino walk.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't seem like Heather missed him. I'm not seeing that part, but I just have two clips from this.
She didn't go because she's like, I finally have chance for peace, right? I'm staying home.
Word. So just two clips from this. Here we go. Fair use.
Sense of the world. And it's not the first time I've seen this. October 7th did this.
You noted this explicitly at the time, that there were groups of people who would come together with understanding who were now being riffed.
Oh, yes.
Pause. The freedom movement.
Rifted.
Oh, yes. This is my favorite Brett's self-indulgence. Like, they fucking did October 7th to end my coalition building.
Yes. Do you want to hear him say it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
They were experiencing unbridgeable gaps.
Right.
And it felt, after October 7th, like it was a direct hit on the medical freedom movement.
Yes.
Now, maybe I'm seeing things that don't deserve to be connected, but it felt like you had a powerful political force emerging that had endured, that had effectively been in a kind of war, and that had galvanized them into, a community that had its own language and had its own assumptions, and that just shattered in an instant. And, presumably that was largely, maybe entirely incidental. But what I'm now seeing is that the way that all things Israel have taken over every conversation, it's like it is an unavoidable lens that obviously has nothing to do with most of the substance of life. And yet, because people...
I wanted to give him props. That was a good point, right? That people are all bunged up about this thing that really, truly is not affecting most of them.
Correct.
But yes, he has this idea that that whole thing happened to derail his medical freedom.
That's one of the classic Brettisms, right? Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so last one. One thing that was noteworthy, did you watch this podcast of theirs?
No.
Heather's disdain for Brett is reaching peak
That's
levels.
always been your favorite part of this whole thing.
Oh, totally. It's really devolving now.
It's only matched by ours, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Heather, you are warmly welcomed to come podcast with us, at least for a single episode, just to get it out of your system and get a break from whatever this is. All right, so here we go, fair use.
Toxic, right? It's like you put something in your mouth and it's super bitter, and it's like, well, I don't want any more of that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you're just damned if you do and damned if you don't. I don't feel that I have the luxury to walk away from it because, our professional life depends on knowing.
What are they
Okay,
talking
I'm sorry. So, we'll go back a little bit. He's talking about how toxic the internet has become, which a lot of like alt media, Autodidact did a show on it this week on how like there's no, like what used to be helpful about the internet is gone. Everything's become more complicated. It's really becoming more of a nightmare than a helpful tool. So he's talking about how he noticed since coming back from his walk and taking a week off the internet, how toxic it is.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so going back.
If you do and damned if you don't. I don't feel that I have the luxury to walk away from it because, our professional life depends on knowing at least what other people think is going on.
How is being an evolutionary biologist dependent on tracking day-to-day news? I'm not an evolutionary biologist.
He's not an evolutionary biologist anymore, except for when it's the convenient accreditation you need to have an opinion on something. And the rest of the time, he's just a podcaster hoping to get on a big show.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was confused. I thought he was an evolutionary biologist, but I guess that...
No, they traded that in for being podcasters, for being YouTubers.
Got it. Got it.
Okay.
That's it for them.
All right, let's go to I like the internet is like the internet now, like you can't go to the internet. When I was like the heyday of me loving the internet, which was like probably 2004 or 5 to like 2010, right? Where it's like I could just go and start anywhere and find my way down a fucking rabbit hole that was fascinating. Whether it was true or not was irrelevant. It was all interesting things that you were hearing for the first time, and like there was a never-ending amount of stuff too. You could just keep burrowing and burrowing and burrowing forever, and it was always interesting, right? Now, like I don't ever go to the internet and just be like, oh, let's see what I find. I only go looking for what I specifically already know is there, whether it be a specific person's channel, a specific website. And so if you already are tracking something that you think is good or that you like, right? And if you've at this point, like part of your discernment of whether it's good and you like it is whether these people are going to go crazy or not, right? Then you can still find threads of what you want on there, but you can't just go there and like the world opens up and it's like fascinating. No, it's just like a fucking terrifying shit show of which the whole Charlie Kirk thing has been the cherry on top, right? Yeah. And so here we go with this. I thought this was interesting, and I could play some of the video, or I can just play the opening line because the opening line is like the funniest part. But here we go.
That's what we do to shut down a faulty prosecution. That's what we do to shut down a system of justice that wants to be exploited by these same anarchists. And that's what they're doing.
Wow. So there you go. We're anarchists, guys. Me, retired Green Beret, served the nation, 10 years in Army Special Forces, went and fought the wars. I'm an anarchist because your story about a 30-06 not blowing Charlie Kirk's head off doesn't make sense. A judge has no privilege to prevent parties from communicating, which is granted by the First Amendment. So the only thing you'll be gagging is on our collective YouTube dicks.
I'll play some more in just a second. So do you know what he's talking about?
No.
So there's this, supposedly there's this gag order that the judge, without either side asking him to, has placed on supposedly 3,000 people associated with the case that they can't talk, right? But like the way that the order thing is written, it's made it like basically anybody who was there, anybody who knows Charlie Kirk, anyone who knows any of the witnesses, right? Some of the witnesses are still unknown. So how could they be gagged if nobody even knows who they are? Right. But it seems like, at least this is the word around in the media, that basically they're trying to shut people like Candace Owens up, right? By making this thing that, like, if you knew Charlie Kirk, if you ever worked at Turning Point USA, if you talked to, you can't talk about all that, right? And in my head, so obviously, like, lawyers and people who understand law at all are like, no, you can't do that. Like, freedom of, you can gag the parties who are part of the trial, the lawyers, the people who are sitting in the courtroom, you can gag that, but you can't just like gag the world from talking about Charlie Kirk unless you're setting us up for the next round of censorship, which will be anybody who ever talked about Charlie Kirk after you trick them into talking about nothing but Charlie Kirk for the last 6 weeks, right? Do you want to listen to a little bit of this, or I thought you would just like that opening? Do you want to hear Kash Patel call anybody who YouTubes about Charlie Kirk and anarchy?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's listen for a few minutes.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And in a wild turn of events, FBI Director Kash Patel has come out swinging against content creators and YouTubers like myself who've had the audacity to question the FBI's official narrative in the Charlie Kirk case and calling us evil conspiracy theorists, anarchists, bad faith actors, and saying we're going to ruin Charlie Kirk's family's lives and we're going to cost the prosecution its case. Wow. Bold words from a guy who used to be a podcaster whose show was just pushing conspiracy theories. Odd. But that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. There's also a new gag order being placed on everybody, I guess, that no one's allowed to talk about this case. We'll see about that. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel. Let's jump into this thing and see what old Kash had to say. Now, I first saw this over on I Am Coach Colin's YouTube channel. Great YouTube channel. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. We're going to watch that. And yeah, let's go through what old Layaway Patel.
Kash Patel and what he's now saying about these rogue people who are not doing a service to anybody. Listen to this.
I think that the militant trans issue really became familiar to the American people last month when Charlie Kirk was killed. I mean, you guys at breakneck speed found this guy, you identified him, you profiled the type of person that he would be, and that's incredible.
Friendly reminder, no, they fucking didn't. Kash Patel keeps telling you, the FBI found him in 3 hours. No, you fucking didn't. His dad's friend recognized him and convinced Tyler to turn himself in. Stop saying that. You didn't find shit.
Incredible. Is there more evidence that you guys can offer to people, maybe video from that roof? Do you expect that there will be more to be released?
I think the best thing we can do for Charlie, especially me as FBI director and our team, is to prosecute this case in the courts of law, where it is, in Utah, in the state of court of law. And what we're going to do is what we've done. Give them every piece of evidence we collect. Our cellular analysis systems are the best in the world, and that's what the FBI does, and that's what we flew in and did. That's how we led the manhunt and got him in 33 short hours. And every single piece...
No, you didn't. He turned himself in. Thanks to a family friend.
piece of video or forensic evidence or witness interview. We've done dozens and dozens, gone on these platforms, found every single person, all of that material. And I know this is frustrating to the public, and I understand it, but I'm not going to allow the Charlie Kirk prosecution to be dismantled because we want to get over our skis in public.
That's exactly what you did, buddy, multiple times. Do you forget when you did this on the first day, right when he was shot? You forget about this one, bro? Subject of the horrific shooting today took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Oh, and then he was in custody. We got him. Oh, and then we had somebody else in custody. Oh, turns out it's just an old man with a pellet rifle. We don't got him. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure all you've done is get out ahead of your skis. But now, of course, you don't want to release anything more. Got it.
Is there any possibility that other people were involved when you talked at the White House? I sort of got a little inkling that maybe you're looking at other people.
We're looking at everyone that was there, that was online, and we're looking to refer these matters to the state prosecution authorities when there's enough evidence. But the reality is, again, with social media, when you have hysterical conspiracy theories filling the void, you're harming Charlie and his family and a rightful prosecution.
Okay, let's break that down because that's obviously total bullshit. First of all of these conspiracy theories are because of you, the FBI. Why? Oh, I don't know, because you told us that a 30-06 was used and there's no exit wound. And, well, there's a video of Tyler Robinson walking with the gun in his pants when he very clearly doesn't have a gun in his pants. And, again, you thought you had the right shooter and then you didn't. And then you thought you had him again and then you didn't, right? You told us that his dad turned him in when it turns out that wasn't true at all. It was a family friend that did it. So you are the reason. You are the reason why there's so many conspiracy theories, not the internet. And let me make this clear because you're going to keep hearing this from the government, the FBI, the judge, the governor, is that these YouTubers spreading conspiracies are going to ruin the case for the prosecution. That's not how the fucking system works. The prosecution either has the evidence to back up their claims and prosecute Tyler Robinson, or they don't. The only thing that YouTubers talking about this harms the prosecution for is if you don't have any evidence to back it up, then it's a big problem for you. And that seems to be what's really going on and why you're so panicked, Cash.
Of his alleged assassin, who we have in custody, and rightly so, in my opinion. And if anyone helped him, do you think that we at this FBI are literally going to let them get away with it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is what people think.
That's why you're doing this interview.
Everyone thinks that.
That's why he's doing the interview. Because, yes, there are many people who think that you just might do that if you're not kept in check and if people don't watch with a telescope.
You know, like, I don't know, the Epstein client list that you have, that you are just letting all of those people get away with crimes. Kind of like that. Yeah, that's why nobody trusts you, bud.
With a microscope. Microscope is the better one. Yes, they think
he
you
has
might
the
do
same
that.
dental.
The trust has a
He has the same
with it.
The same,
Us standing
what
silent
happened
in
here?
the face of growing conspiracy theory.
He has like the same tooth, like that you guys' tooth came. Your teeth came from the same fairy.
Yes, we're diastema twinsies.
Yes.
That's what we do to shut down a faulty prosecution. That's what we do to shut down a system of justice that wants to be exploited by these same anarchists. And that's what they're doing.
Wow. So there you go.
Anarchists are the
guys.
problem.
Me, retired Green Beret, served the nation, 10 years in Army Special Forces, went and fought the wars. I'm an anarchist because your story about a 30-06 not blowing Charlie Kirk's head off doesn't make sense. So yeah, like Gary over at Paramount Tactical, another anarchist. Ian Carroll, anarchist. Candace Owens, anarchist. Jesse with Fire, anarchist.
What would be funny is if you actually asked any anarchist if those people are anarchists, they would be like, no, those people are government lovers.
Right.
All right, that's enough. But yeah, I thought you would enjoy that.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love him.
Funny. I like him. Yeah. Yeah. And then remember when the first day when they first got Tyler Robinson or whatever, Cash Patel said that weird thing about like, rest now, brother, and I'll see you in Valhalla, right? Like, I guess
this is the Valhalla podcast.
But this guy's, yeah, and I guess Valhalla is a term, and I did not know this before, and he talks about it at the end, reserved for people who were warriors in the military.
Right.
like where they're going to end up. And so Cash Patel is like, it's like stolen valor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So on top of all the other bullshit, there's that, right?
Yes.
And Charlie Kirk wasn't in the military either. So why Valhalla would be relevant to him doesn't make any sense either. Okay. So that's that. I think that's
Okay.
my clips.
My options, and I'm just remembering another Trump clip that I might have somewhere. Okay, so would you rather see Bill Gates be schooled or a weird Gene Keys slip?
Let's do Bill
Or
Gates.
Eminem. Tell us what we already know.
Schooled, and then we'll go to the chat room and we'll save that Gene Keys slip for maybe it'll accompany our Antarctica trip.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right.
Let me pull it up. Okay. Here we go, fair use.
All right.
To the world. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I created.
I'm gonna redo it just so you could hear her question.
Thank you.
I'm hoping it works.
Okay.
Have you contributed to the world? I'm not sure if you're aware, but I created the world's most popular computer operating system. No, of course. But as we all know, it wasn't actually you who created it. As a matter of fact, the predecessor of Windows, MS-DOS, was created by Gary Kildall, which you then basically stole from him for a couple of dollars. It's not just development. There's a whole lot of important factors to running an enormously successful company like Microsoft. So then let's leave the computer world for a moment. You have been a major spokesperson for COVID vaccines during the pandemic. Yes. What exactly makes you a computer engineer who didn't even program his initial product himself, a valid representative of the pharmaceutical industry? I have read a lot of books about that topic. But how does that? Wait a second. And met with specialists from the field all over the world. Mr. Gates, with all due respect, how do you feel about it now? Now that it's becoming more and more evident that the medication you were promoting, whilst having heavily invested in it yourself, thus making billions of it. This is not how the world works. Has caused countless injuries, side effects, and death. That's a very immature way of looking at it, quite frankly. So here's my final question to you. Is this a behavioral pattern? What do you mean exactly? Taking technology from other people that you don't understand, selling a product full of bugs, causing massive damage, and profiting from it in a spectacular. What have you contributed to the world?
My only question, Dani, is how did you get an interview with Bill Gates?
I know. I don't even know if it was real, but it was.
That looks like AI. I think it was like AI clips put together in a way that worked.
That's
but
what
either way, I love it. Maybe you should. Right? Maybe that's what you. Maybe you should like pretend you're having a conversation with the people, like from one of the foundations that you critique in your thing, and like.
I'll make him the pup. That'll be my new puppet series.
Yeah. I got you a new puppet, so it's time to introduce a new character. And I found another place locally to get you more puppets that I haven't seen that you have. So you can constantly be introducing more characters.
New characters with my singular voice.
Yes.
Because I have no talent as a puppeteer.
Right? Every one of Dani's characters lost their balls. And
totally.
All right, let's go to the chat box and see what the kids are saying. If you got questions, comments, things you want talked about, all capital letters. Well, I guess I'm feeling better.
Good. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Lots of friends in the house tonight. Thank you all for stopping by.
Yay. Thanks for being here.
Oh, yes, High Heart Wellness. That she can't be trusted either. Although she is far more entertaining than a lot of these other characters who can't be trusted.
Candace?
Yep.
Whatever happened to that bombshell that she and Ian were working on about RFK?
Correct. We're still waiting for that. There's lots of bombshells we're waiting for. But yeah, I do think so. Martha said part of the op was giving back a lot of canceled, deleted truther YouTubers their platforms just in time for the Charlie Kirk ritual, right? So, I mean, this is the whole. Think about this. Like, obviously, like anyone who can read can see that, like, Legally, that's not going to fly, but that doesn't mean that YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or X won't adopt it as their policy that no one's allowed to talk about the children, right? And then you'll have no time to go. They won't tell you you have 36 hours to delete all your Charlie Kirk content. It'll just be anybody who has anyone who's ever said the word Charlie Kirk, your channel is gone, which will leave only AI channels. Which, have you seen all those weird ads where they're like, we'll pay you $15,000 a month to create a faceless YouTube channel? Right? I think that's what they want, is just all of these like AI, YouTube channels that, right, feed people exactly what they want to hear and just basically, right? Have you seen these ads on
No,
Instagram?
I've not seen these ads because my ads are successfully blocked now.
On Instagram? Like you don't see them just as regular Instagram posts?
That's not what I'm being targeted on Instagram. I'm only targeted like ergonomic fascia devices.
Yeah. All right. Yes, it is interesting. It is interesting because on Instagram, the things that are sponsored look more exactly like the other ones than on the other platforms. Ooh, we're having some weird freezing.
Glitchies.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, let's go back to the chat box and see if any. Oh, now.
So for the question about my puppets. I did a sub series called Spot the Propaganda. Oh, I think I'm frozen. I don't know if anyone can even hear me.
I can't see anything. Okay, now it's back. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So to Joseph, thank you for asking. I had a sub series called Spot the Propaganda, where I was using spazzy puppets to deconstruct propaganda. So you can find it on my Odyssey channel. They might still be on my YouTube channel, but I've had so many strikes and stuff taken down that I don't post a lot on YouTube. But I'll see if I can find a link for you while we're still living.
All right, let's see.
Are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm able to look at the chat, but it like moves very slowly.
Got it.
And yes, both Gigi, I agree with you. Kirk was a character actor from Central Casting. I think we talked about that like week 1 when this happened. Like, we understand he's been groomed for this his whole life, but like, was he really groomed as what he is, or was he just an actor groomed to play that role? Like, that's the only question. Like, how far read in was he? And then yes, Charlie wasn't part in the traditional military, Emily, but he was part of the military industrial complex. I actually am one of those people who believes that on some level, like, oh, we're frozen again. I don't understand what's happening here. On some level, like, we're all part of the military, right? We've all been sort of like, when you go and look at something like Project Talent or the GATE program or whatever it is, it's very obvious that the government sees the people as resources that they have rights to use if they want to. And that's like a form of militarization of your entire population, right? And so whether people were in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines or not, everybody has sort of, everyone has been used as a resource on some level, or at least looked at as a resource.
So they talk about this in the Antarctica. So that'll be our next long form show, but that's a big chunk of it. Is how they just use the people as though they've signed on for their gross slavey shenanigans. Jim, thank you so much for your generous super chat. And Joseph, I put the link in the chat of the Spot the Propaganda puppet series playlist on YouTube.
Joan wants to share our thoughts on the last Saturday's No Kings March. I don't really know anything about it other than that like someone I know like went to one and was sending pictures like in a group thing, and I just decided not to say anything, right? But I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know too much about it. Did you pay attention?
No, I left town and I went to a city in a state where there were no marches. And I was in a hot spring wearing my got Stockholm Syndrome baseball hat. And some man came swimming over to me and he's like, "Can I ask you what your hat is referring to?" And I'm like, the Kool-Aid drinking, mind-controlled morons who love the government and believe the media and treat their fellow human beings like shit. And he's like, "Thank you," because I was just in blank city and there was this No Kings protest and we just rolled our eyes and like, ugh. It's like, You had no problem with kings telling you to muzzle yourself, to not visit your family, to not go to anything, to inject yourself and your children with genocide, but now you're all up in arms because you don't understand what's going on any level. Like, I just can't. I have no respect for it. It's so lame.
Jim, yeah, I agree. It's cringe. And those videos are weird with the kids facing backwards, almost like they're not even real kids. I don't know, right? Like, it is bizarre. It's super bizarre.
Have you seen Cheryl Hines making the rounds this week?
I'm aware that she has made the rounds, but I don't know what she's been saying. So
I brought a clip last week that I don't have queued up when she was on Megyn Kelly, but that interview is worth watching, not just because Megyn Kelly admits that she's a dumbass who doesn't know how to do her job, but Megyn Kelly is coaching Cheryl throughout the whole, she's literally feeding Cheryl her lines throughout the whole 7-minute segment.
Well, but that isn't like that. That's true on so many levels there. So yeah, that's the truth. Okay, someone here, Eric Lightfoot said Valhalla is also a reference to a witness protecting in the CIA or FBI. So yeah, maybe both Kash Patel and Charlie Kirk are going to be on Cuba with Tupac and and everyone else real soon. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I at this point, it's. You know, make any story one of us could make up would be more compelling and likely true than the ones we're being sold here, right? And yes,
I like that High Heart Wellness. Can we have a no hypocrisy movement?
Right. Fuck no kings. How about no hypocrisy?
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. All right. Let's see.
Last call for cues.
Last call for Apple.
Or title suggestions.
Yes. I think someone said amazing Jew incidents. I'm not.
Right. Oh, I like that. I'm writing that down.
All right. I like Jana's titles so far. My favorite. What about
it's on the list?
What about Jenna and Friends? Who's Jenna?
I don't know who Jenna is.
Who's Jenna, Michael? Prince Michael Jackson and Elvis are on the island too. Correct. Everyone's on the island, right? Everyone's on the island. All right. Wouldn't it be funny if the island they're all on is the Epstein Island?
Right?
Right. And that's like the weird blue and white stripe thing there is like just where they enter the elevator where they go down to like the subterranean thing that takes them out to the island of Atlantis or, you know.
I did a video years ago. It was like might have been end of 2020, 2021, where I was breaking down Rockefeller, like it was specifically Rockefeller's influence on the coronavirus response. And I illustrated Epstein's Island. That shit got taken down so fast. But I was really proud of my Epstein Island illustration in that video.
So, yeah. Okay. So,
yeah, Karen Carpenter says too small, need a bigger island.
Jenna Bush in her TV show. I didn't know Jenna Bush had a TV show, so thank you for informing. And Gigi Lynn says they're not on the island; they're literally in our faces as other people. That's another theory. That's also that also has lots of energy behind it. I don't think it has to be an either or, right? Like I think. Sometimes people get island fever and want to come back and do a job and then go back to the island. So, right?
Maybe fake Trump is Michael Jackson.
Right, there you go. Right. Well, the little arms or whatever, yeah, the little thing with the hands, I don't know. All right. I think we're done. Are we done?
I feel like we're done. New episode of our long form show drops tomorrow, guys.
The Land Back Grift. See you next time.